Hi everyone and welcome to the Empire Universe channel. Today the topic is PTSD. With PTSD, post-traumatic stress syndrome, it is when something traumatic happens to an individual that it causes it very difficult for them to cope thereafter. Their nerves go. And a lot of suicides are attributed to it. When I used to think of PTSD, I guess when I first learned of it years and years ago, it was with combat that people that were in combat, they used to call it shell shock in World War I. And it would drive people mad, and they could not cope. But it is not just selective to combat. It can be any traumatic event that really affects the individual. For example, years ago, I went to see a client, and we were just talking, small talk. And for whatever reason, it came up their son had passed away, and she kept describing the story that her son had committed suicide. And she said that he had PTSD. So I immediately thought, okay, this guy was a war veteran or something, but it wasn't that at all. I guess he happened on the scene of a car accident, and the driver in the accident was decapitated. So he came upon this horrific scene, and she said he never got over it. She said it'd be in his nightmares, and he never got over it, and he took his own life over that incident. Very unfortunate, very sad. But there's a lot of people that suffer with it. And for me individually, mine goes back to 2008. Mine is self-inflicted PTSD. So in 2008, I wanted to find out the truth, whether aliens actually existed. I always thought they did, right? So, and I would argue about it. I believe, I'd watch Unsolved Mysteries and all those different shows, and I believed it. But I wanted to know for sure, because in my mind, I could never... It was either aliens exist, God doesn't, or God exists, aliens don't. That's how it always was in my mind. So I wanted to find out the truth once and for all. So after I watched this guy's videos for a few weeks, I went to find out for myself. And when I started filming these entities, and first of all, you can imagine, so for weeks you're just watching it, footage that you think, yeah, this looks real. This doesn't look like a fake one. And then you go to replicate what they're doing, and you get that footage. You get the same type of thing. And yes, I know how to film them. It was mind-blowing. Not to mention that before I even started filming, paranormal stuff started happening. Like crows would show up on my property. Never had an issue with crows, and they'd be all over my property. We'd go for walks. They'd be following us on walk. That happened for years. Years afterward. And it was basically harassment. And so when I started filming these and seeing them with my own eyes, this wasn't something that I was getting, word of mouth or something from another source. I was getting this directly. This was confirmation for me. I wasn't trying to, I was going to say I wasn't trying to prove this to anyone, but I was trying to, once I found out what they were, I was trying to prove, hey, these things are not what they're saying there. So it was very instant. Once I started filming them, it was very clear, A, that they were evil, and B, that they were not aliens at all. And, you know, you always get these negative people on, you know, posting comments or whatever. And I can tell you for sure, there are no aliens. Now, there may be demons that Satan has found a way to take a physical body, but a demon is a demon. There are no aliens from outer space. Unless you think of the whole angelic realm of them not being human as aliens, but which I guess technically, but we're talking from the biblical viewpoint. These are demons. These are the same demons that Jesus was casting out of people. Same ones. So here I am at my house at night, alone, in the dark, sitting on my back deck, filming these things night after night and having them show up clear. Like, some of the videos were so clear. There was one person that said, yeah, nice dolls. And they didn't realize that they were looking at the genuine thing. You know? But what happened was that not only was I being harassed at the time by crows, they were trying to possess me. They were trying to get into my mind. So I would see them. I would start to see them everywhere. Like, even in the carpet, I would see their faces. Like, I'd see them in clouds. You know, I'd see them on the television screen. So I would be watching television, and this isn't the footage that I filmed or anything. This is just turning on the TV, and I would see them. The faces would all appear on the TV. I'd see them on my laptop screen. So this was, you know, this was everywhere. And like I say, they were trying to possess me. I would get this really, first, my ears would ring. I did another video on that. When I first started filming them, my ears would ring. And that's when they were highly active. And that is definitely a sign. I'm not saying that all ears ringing are a cause of that, but I wouldn't have known that unless I went through what I did and filmed them. Because anytime I would go to film them, my ears would start ringing, and so it was very traumatic. You know, going through all that, especially that they would try to create this really sick feeling in your head when they were trying to get in there. So I was constantly fighting off demonic possession, and I was in, at the time I was in, it was very, I really opened up a door, and there was a lot of stuff going on, like daily. So what really started to mess with my mind was we have the physical and we have the spiritual. We are spiritual beings, by the way. Like, all of this is spiritual. But my physical mind, to cope, was constantly trying to forget what happened, just so that I could survive, I guess. My physical mind was trying to forget, trying to repress it, could not deal with it. Because, this happened when I was in my early 30s. So for all those decades before that, I never knew these things were around. So to find out that all along these things have been actively trying to destroy you, it was mind-blowing. And to know that after filming them, that they were still out there, they were still around, they were still watching every single thing I did. To this day, right now they're watching me. But like I say, I'm not the only one. They watch everybody. And for those that, I believe there's hundreds assigned per person on Earth, Satan assigns them. And for the dangerous Christians, that the dangerous Christians are the ones who actively seek to bring people to Jesus. I would say that they have probably thousands of demons assigned to them at all times, trying to destroy them. So to know this was going on, and my physical mind could not cope with it, and I would have to keep reminding I would have to keep reminding myself so that I wasn't letting it go. I wasn't letting my physical mind try to bury this and pretend that it didn't happen, because it did. And so there was this tug of war. There was this tug of war between the physical and the spiritual. And the physical mind cannot cope with this kind of stuff. Cannot cope with it. So I have for years, and part of the reason that I haven't done videos and been active and stuff is I've had a hard time coping with it for years. I still have a hard time. And this was something that I voluntarily started, and I still have a hard time coping with what I've seen. And the only thing that gets me through is knowing that Jesus is there. I mean, if Jesus wasn't there, there would be no hope, and this would be an absolute nightmare. But thankfully, at the same time that I saw all this demonic, horrific, horror movie type stuff, I knew the answer. I knew the solution. It's not like I was being deceived. I knew what was going on. And this brought me closer to Jesus, and that's how I came to know Jesus. I've received Jesus. He is my Lord and Savior. I've asked him countless times to forgive my sins, to come into my heart, to forgive me of all my sins. And my sins are many, my friends. I'm going to do another video on that. So stick with it. I guess this is just some insight, what I've been going through for the last few years. It's been hard coping with knowing that there are literally billions of demonic entities that you can't see, that most people can't see, that only I can mainly see when I'm filming, and I don't do that anymore. And they're everywhere. They're everywhere. And that's why it's so important. So important. Nothing is more important than receiving Jesus. That's number one. If you don't do anything in your life, make sure you receive Jesus before you die. And that means now, because we never know when we're going to die. So, but it was just mind-blowing, traumatic. And like I say, it was very interesting when if you're able to back away from it and to see how the physical mind, the old man, as the Apostle Paul describes it, tries to cope with stuff that doesn't fit in with the physical, doesn't fit in with it. The pieces don't fit, and how the physical tries to. So if the pieces don't fit, what does the physical do? Physical tries to bury it. And that's what I've been going through for the last number of years. Is the physical has tried to bury it, while the spiritual knows. Spiritual knows this is going on. Anyway, folks, this is the conclusion of the video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something. And there will be more videos coming out. If you have any suggestions or questions on, topics that you'd like me to go over, by all means. So God bless you. Take care. Until next time.